Well, it's a very beautiful Wednesday evening. My news coming to you live from our Montrose News Desk. I am Sibigele Maposa. Susan Masona is on the sign language desk. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. The Zimbabwe-Botswana Fifth Binational Commission and memoranda of agreement in various areas. 3 men die after being crushed by a 3-ton glass crate in Harare's Workington industrial area. And in sport, Highlanders beat Chicken Inn 3-1 to register first win of the PSL season. Let's take a look at the news in detail. The President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, and his Botswana counterpart, Advocate Duma Boko, have agreed to work together on the economic and political fronts for the benefit of the citizenry in their respective countries. This emerged when the two heads of state presided over the 5th Zimbabwe-Botswana Binational Commission in Harare this Wednesday. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe, has the details.
The relationship between the Republic of Botswana and the Republic of Zimbabwe, when they gear up, when the two principals, that is the President of Botswana, Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, and the President Emmerson Mnangagwa, almost ready from the same template. President Mnangagwa said, after penciling almost 10 agreements or memoranda of understanding, things are moving well between the two sister republics. He said Botswana has been a good shoulder to lean on before independence and after independence.
Zimbabwe and Botswana share a rich history underpinned by deep cultural affinities, geographic proximity, and a common heritage rooted in the liberation armed struggle. These enduring ties continue to provide a firm foundation for our growing bilateral relations. During our engagements, my dear brother President Boko and I held frank, cordial and productive discussions on a wide range of issues of mutual interest between our two countries. We reaffirmed our shared commitment to deepen cooperation in key sectors, including trade and investment, in energy, in agriculture, mining, transport and logistics, tourism, and people-to-people exchanges. We have also agreed to enhance collaboration in facilitating cross-border trade through the removal of tariff and non-tariff barriers, modernizing border infrastructure and improving connectivity, particularly through strategic corridors that link our economies. These efforts are in line with our broader regional integration agenda under the Southern African Development Community, SADC, and the continental vision of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
President Duma Boko said, yes, indeed, Africa is not a poor continent. Zimbabwe is not a poor country. And the things are happening here.
We've indicated we want to ease contact and interchange between our peoples. We want to remove all the barriers and barricades that impede the free flow of goods and services between our countries. We've committed ourselves to raising the level of cooperation, the volumes of trade between our countries. We have spoken to these issues with profound intensity, elevation, and effect. We've had to engage with many challenges and constraints, and we've, over these last few days, engaged in a rigorous, multivariate analysis. We've had to wrestle with multiple variables, individually and collectively, so that we map out a clear, cogent, effective strategy for the attainment of the goals we envision. We must cut the timelines considerably, and that's what we came here to commit ourselves to. We must change the processes, even the means of communication. When Botswana had a shortage of medicines, I didn't write a letter to His Excellency. I called him, spoke to him on the phone for barely 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, commitments were made, actions were commanded, and results followed. That's how things must work. And so to the press I say, you must do the same. You must carry storylines that indicate the positive. You must not pander to the whims and caprices of the foreign media that has a tendency of describing Africa as an area of pitiless starvation and pestilence. No, that's not Africa. And each time I read some of the storylines, exaggerated, grotesquely exaggerated descriptions of failure. And yet there are so many epic stories of success in the lives of our people. These don't enjoy pride of place in the pages of your newspapers. What is wrong with the press? Don't you see these positive impacts? Don't you interact with our people whose heroics continue to map and define a new way of doing things? We would like you to report some of these positives so that you counter the narrative peddled by certain media.
So at the end of the day, the 5th Binational Commission between Zimbabwe and Botswana went very well, and the leaders agreed that the 6th National Bi-Commission to be held in Botswana, they will be marking the boxes, following their aging officials and ministers tasked with the task to do their work diligently. And by November this year, the 2 groups will meet to review what is supposed to be done. Ruben Barber, ZPC News, the State of Harare.
Zimbabwe and Botswana have agreed to implement joint projects, including commemoration of events that affected the 2 countries during the liberation struggle. This was confirmed by President Emmerson Mnangagwa and his Botswana counterpart, Advocate Duma Boko, when they responded to questions at the conclusion of the 5th Binational Commission in Harare this Wednesday. We'll give you that story as the bulletin progresses. We now move on with the bulletin. Zimbabwe and Botswana have signed 10 agreements under the 5th Binational Commission, which has been described as a solid institutional mechanism to strengthen bilateral cooperation.
It's a new chapter on the bilateral cooperation between Zimbabwe and Botswana, structured under a strategic regional framework. Now, the 10 memoranda of agreement signed between these 2 nations is a huge signal and a strong commitment to enhancing economic cooperation between these 2 nations.
The agreements are a huge statement of intent to expanding trade and investment ties based on the understanding that this will support sustainable and inclusive economic growth for both countries. Recognizing the potential to boost trade, the 2 countries reaffirmed commitment to collaborate and strengthen performance through removal of all trade barriers. Another agreement targets to strengthen cooperation in the small, micro and medium enterprises. Under this agreement, the 2 countries will push enhanced entrepreneurship and access to finance. The 2 countries have also assumed a strong position against cross-border crime, targeting to reduce livestock theft cases, which have spiraled over the past years. Another agreement focuses on defense and security, recognizing the centrality to boosting border security management. One of the agreements looked at prisons and correctional services, while another will focus on immigration. Reading out a joint communique, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Emon Murira, said, "Expectation is these agreements will be transformed into tangible action within the shortest period."
The heads of state and government directed that the signed agreement be expeditiously implemented and that all outstanding instruments be finalized. The two leaders noted ongoing investments in transport corridors, energy and border infrastructure that enhance regional connectivity and trade. The heads of state and government reaffirmed their commitment to facilitate the ease of movement of people, goods and services between the two countries.
The Binational Commission between Zimbabwe and Botswana represents the highest institutional mechanism to advancing and accelerating bilateral cooperation, and this is aligned to the broader objective of regional integration. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
Botswana says it will play its part in the growth of the Museum of African Liberation, which will play a crucial role in telling Africa's independence journey. This was established when Botswana President Advocate Duma Boko toured various places, including leading a groundbreaking ceremony for the Botswana Pavilion at the Liberation City.
The first stop in President Advocate Duma Boko's tour was here at the National Heroes Acre, where the country's heroes and heroines have been interred. He had an appreciation of what the National Heroes Acre stands for and what it means for Zimbabwe. And he also had an opportunity to lay wreaths at the tomb of the unknown soldier. During Tuesday's state banquet held in honor of visiting Botswana President Advocate Duma Boko, the President Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa invited Botswana to participate in the Museum of African Liberation project currently underway in Harare, announcing the donation of a piece of land that will facilitate the work that Botswana will undertake. Now this Wednesday, following the signing of a memorandum of understanding within this particular framework, Botswana President Boko held a groundbreaking ceremony on the site that will tell the story of Botswana.
Well, it's a momentous occasion. It's a great mark and measure of Africa's interconnectedness in history, in culture, in shared experiences. These shared experiences are often the stuff of legend or oral tradition, transmitted from generation to generation by word of mouth. This project here avails an opportunity to chronicle, to document accurately, and to preserve for posterity all the experiences that the African countries have gone through and the African continent in its entirety has endured over the years, so that the story of the African history and experience shall remain echoing through the tunnels of time now and into the future. And this is an opportunity for Botswana to take its rightful place and tell part of that story and be an exemplar as well for now and for generations yet unborn. And we take our place alongside other SADC countries here with pride and great pleasure.
Instac CEO Ambassador Kwame Muzawazi says the move by Botswana, by Zimbabwe, by Africa is crucial in the African Renaissance journey.
This is quite significant. This follows 2 visits by a special envoy that the President sent to Botswana, and these are the results. The President made a call to the progressive forces in Africa to remember our glorious yet painful struggle for independence, and Botswana has responded resoundingly.
The last stop in President Boko's tour was here at Geopomona Waste-to-Energy plant. You might recall that in 2024, Geopomona embarked on a fact-finding mission in Botswana where they exchanged knowledge on this particular program of waste-to-energy production. Here, President Boko appreciated the works being done and took time to have a feel of the football pitch. According to the chairman for Geopomona, Dr. Delish Nguwaya, this project is key and reflects the government's commitment to waste management and the formulation of clean energy sources.
The work which we are doing here at Geopomona is being endorsed by Southern Africa presidents. They are appreciating what the job which has been done here at Geopomona. As you are aware that the place used to be an isolated place. No one wants to live in this place. But we are seeing the transformation is happening here. So everyone is coming to appreciate. It's now a center of attraction to local, international, regional. The projects get a lot of attraction.
The conclusion of the tour here at Geopomona brings to an end the first leg of President Boko's 3-day state visit to Zimbabwe, which during the 5th Zimbabwe-Botswana Binational Commission saw the signing of 10 memoranda of understanding in different areas of cooperation, which is expected to deepen bilateral relations between Harare and Gaborone. Olin Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Segueing from that, we now give you the details of the question and answer segment where President Emmerson Mnangagwa and his Botswana counterpart answered various questions after the conclusion of the 5th Binational Commission in Harare this Wednesday.
There was a question and answer session soon after the closing ceremony when the two presidents, Advocate Duma Gideon Boko and the President Emmerson Mnangagwa, responded to questions about their relationship. First, it was about what this whole issue about crossing into each other without passports is concerned.
Is of movement of persons between Botswana and Zimbabwe, in which regard we've committed ourselves to the use of national ID cards going forward to facilitate and ease this movement. I've also shared with the Commission that in Botswana we are looking at the introduction of a cryptographic national ID card, which will obviate the need to carry the card around. You can have the details on your smartphone, and wherever you go, you basically just tap on the go. And we are in the process of deploying the requisite technology to achieve this.
Every year where 15 Botswana soldiers lost their life during the struggle for independence here. And Botswana commemorate that day. We have a similar situation where Zimbabweans are invited to commemorate with the Zambians at Kavalamanja. Are we likely to see Botswana and Zimbabwe commemorating this loss of life of Botswana and some Zimbabwean guerrilla fighters? Because President Mnangagwa underscored about this 28th of February 1978 situation.
Countries like Botswana, Zambia suffered a lot of injustices meted out against their people by the Rhodesian regime here of Ian Smith. So we should extend our solidarity and express Zimbabwe's solidarity with these comrades. Perhaps the two states, the Republic of Zimbabwe and the Republic of Botswana, can discuss as to what we can do, what can be done in memory of these 15 soldiers who sacrificed their lives for the freedom we enjoy today.
Botswana and Zimbabwe will jointly commemorate the Lesoma ambush. We need to elevate some of these historical occurrences and give them due recognition because they chronicle the heroic efforts and sacrifices that were made by people in Zimbabwe and in Botswana. And one of the grave injustices that we will do ourselves is to ignore some of these historical markers and references. We need to not only commemorate but teach in our schools, in our institutions.
Yes, indeed. The two presidents agreed that what is now left is implementation so that the results and more results can be realized. Ruben Barwez, ZBC News, State of Harare.
The President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, is expected to join fellow heads of state from the region for the Kingdom of Eswatini celebration after 40 years of leadership under King Mswati III. The celebration set for this weekend will also coincide with King Swati's birthday celebration.
Having ascended to the throne 40 years ago at the age of 18, King Mswati III marks 4 decades on the throne. Celebrations have been lined up with regional leaders expected in Manzini to join the king and the people of Eswatini in the celebrations, which will also mark his 58th birthday. The king turned 58 on the 19th of April. President Mnangagwa is expected in Manzini this Thursday.
The president is coming on the 23rd. He is coming for 2 things. One is the 40th anniversary of the reigning of King Mswati III. So he was coronated 40 years ago. And this is a very big celebration, but most importantly, it's a celebration that is like a friends alone club. People that are invited are people that are close to Eswatini. Then the second is the 58th birthday of the king. Remember, he was coronated when he was 18 years. So again, it is a celebration that is taken highly here.
There are prospects of increasing cooperation between the Kingdom of Eswatini and Zimbabwe at a time when a number of Zimbabweans are working and living in Eswatini.
Many doctors from Zimbabwe came here. Nurses, teachers are here, go even to mechanics and so forth. And most of the sugarcane plantation managers are from Zimbabwe.
The celebrations are also expected to showcase the rich Eswatini culture. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Eswatini.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga says Zimbabwe is committed to facilitating an economy that boosts production, attracts capital, and promotes long-term confidence. He was speaking at the annual International Business Conference held at the ongoing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair this Wednesday.
Business leaders, government officials, exhibitors, and investors, among other stakeholders, gathered here in Bulawayo this Wednesday for the International Business Conference, which is held annually, whereby such stakeholders meet to discuss various economic-related issues.
Government remains committed to policy consistency, fiscal discipline, the sanctity of contracts, protection of investments, transparent regulation, and continuous improvement in the ease of doing business.
The Vice President also spoke on the government's commitment to ensuring that the economy only exports processed mineral commodities.
We therefore welcome investment into mineral processing plants refining capacity, engineering services, equipment manufacturing, logistics and downstream industries linked to mining value chains. We are also strengthening collaboration between industry, universities, and research institutions so that innovation, skills development, and applied sciences directly support national production systems.
Captains of industry and commerce here also expressed optimism about Zimbabwe's growth prospects.
It is not an accident that our economic growth is at around 7.5%. We believe we can continue to sustain that and even grow if we focus on delivering the fundamentals.
We believe that we can rebound in terms of continue on the growth trajectory and continue to see another good year of growth where we will benefit especially from the ease of doing business reforms.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga had also an opportunity of touring stands at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. Business opportunities and policies, modalities to increase foreign and local investments, including the need to boost the competitiveness of the country, are some of the issues that were discussed during the 2026 International Business Conference held here at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. Stanley James, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Vice President Colonel retired Dr. Kembo Mohadi has been impressed by the high standard of innovations and displays at this year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, calling for the transformation of premier showcases into a high-impact economic ecosystem. The Vice President was speaking during a tour of stands at the ZITF this Wednesday.
Vice President Colonel retired Dr. Kembo Mohadi was at the Zimbabwe International Conference and Exhibition Smart City here in Mla this Wednesday, where he engaged exhibitors and reviewed displays, noting that these are world-class, and he also spoke of issues of strong innovation, competitive industries, and the strong participation of international exhibitors that he says is pushing Zimbabwe's industrialization drive.
Well, each and every time we come here, the standards improve and the number of exhibitors actually increase in number. So, which means that we are doing something good because we are always progressing. There's always something new. The exhibitions are even better than what they were last year.
We then sat down with the Vice President after touring exhibition stands where issues on how the private sector can fully utilize this platform were discussed. He emphasized that the platform must serve as more than a showroom. It must be a catalyst for market expansion and strategic industrial partnerships.
The private sector, who are primarily the people that are showcasing, should maybe by the end of this exhibition or this trade fair establish or get contracts or conclude contracts with international investors that is going to interest them in coming to Zimbabwe, in actually developing, investing in Zimbabwe. It's not just a question of us showcasing what we can then give to the world and what the world can give to us, but we would want those that come to invest here, let's cultivate their interest in a manner that they feel they would want to come to Zimbabwe and invest in real terms. By so doing, then we'll be developing our economy, we'll be growing our economy. And when we grow our economy, when we expand our economy, jobs are created, our GDP grows, and then the livelihoods of our people are also improved.
Asked on what can be done to take ZITF to the next level, the Vice President says Zimbabwe's Premier Trade Showcase should move beyond exhibition and deliver concrete economic outcomes.
The next phase of ZITF's growth lies in evolving from a showcase event into a high-impact trade innovation and investment ecosystem, one that delivers measurable economic outcomes and firmly positions Zimbabwe with regional and global value chains.
The Vice President also taught the ruling party's exhibition stand at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, underscoring its role in advancing policies that drive economic development, industrial growth, and Zimbabwe's broader integration into regional and global markets. What is intent is that the Second Republic is moving away from the traditional statistic exhibition towards a matchmaking and tracking framework. And this aligns with the broader National Development Strategy 2, which seeks to leverage public-private partnerships to bridge the gap between innovation and industrial output, ensuring that the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair functions as a functional engine for foreign direct investment rather than just a seasonal showcase. Yolande Moyo, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Government says it is committed to continuing with the modernization of the media industry through the acceleration of the digitization program.
The Second Republic has since inception undertaken the task of transforming the media industry through licensing many players and upscaling the digitization program. The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Soda, this Wednesday toured the Ministry's pavilion at the ongoing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair Showcase in Bulawayo. The Minister also toured stands of parastatals under the Ministry's purview, including the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, Zimpepers and Transmedia. He got first-hand experience of radio and podcast programs that speak directly to the Second Republic's media transformation thrust.
I toured the various stands, of course, housed under the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, where I was taken through the various activities, especially the major highlights that are being showcased during ZITF. What I've seen, just to give as a summary, is the thrust for modernization with all our entities, moving away from the old technologies to new technologies, and that is actually in line with what the President, His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, has mandated, that we must modernize. So that's exactly what I've seen with Transmedia, with ZBC, even with what the ministry itself has been showcasing.
From exhibitions, Dr. Jemo visited ZBC's Montrose newly transformed studios for the first time, noting how the upgrades have enhanced ZBC's capacity to provide quality content. The transformation of Montrose Studios has helped upscale the devolution and decentralization agenda.
Modernized studios are not just about new equipment, new infrastructure. They are beyond that. For us, Montrose is more about decentralization from Pockets Hill. We are now also using Montrose Studios not just for local productions. We know Montrose Studios is the hub for creative industries in the southern regions, but also Montrose Studios are now coming in really useful in terms of national events. Only a week ago, we were broadcasting the independence celebration from Mapisa using Montrose Studios for our productions. At the moment, we are at ZITF. Again, Montrose Studios are playing a really important role.
Now capacitated with advanced modern technologies, ZBC's Montrose Studios is now a broadcasting center of excellence, which ZBC and the nation is proud of. Lisa Correa, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The Office of the President and Cabinet has taken advantage of this year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair to unpack government's development roadmap under the National Development Strategy 2 NDS2.
Running under the theme Connected Economies, Competitive Industries, the Office of the President and Cabinet stand mirrors the national vision, highlighting the shift from the Transitional Stabilization Program and NDS1 to the NDS2 phase, set to drive Zimbabwe towards an upper middle income society by 2030. The exhibition also provides insight into the structure and functions of government.
This year we are unpacking who we are in that section where we talk about our mission, vision, values in the office. Then the structure, the organogram of the structure, including the setup, His Excellency, the two vice presidents, the chief secretary, the advisors, and the deputy chief secretaries. We also present the cabinet, its structure there. Then we also talk about the functions of the OPC. Government adjusted its system of governance in terms of how to superintend on national programs and projects. It is now saying the chief secretary operates more like a chief executive officer of government in terms of government and programs implementation. Then his deputy chief secretaries act as chief operating officers. So they superintend on special sector, cluster kind of sector ministries within the context of a whole of government approach.
Devolution policies are also being highlighted, with provinces profiled according to their economic potential as government moves to ensure inclusive development that leaves no one and no place behind.
The President has said, we will leave no person and no place behind. Therefore, development must be locally based, where people have a right to choose the path that they want to develop in. And then central government gives them resources, helps them with overall supervision, but they are responsible for their own growth. So we unpack the provinces one by one, high impact projects that are taking place in those provinces. Then of course, the main area that we are unpacking is behind me, NDS2. It's futuristic, so we show here the roadmap.
Through this exhibition, government is reinforcing the importance of citizen awareness and participation in driving national development under NDS2. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The re-engagement agenda is on track, driven by regional and global investor interest in the economy. We now link up with our business editor, Stanley James, who is at the Diplomats Forum underway in Bulawayo at the moment. Over to you, Stanley, for the details.
Basically, the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair is now hitting its apex moments with a diplomatic forum already underway here in Bulawayo tonight. And I'm joined by the Kenya's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Your Excellency Mrs. Gertrude Angote. Well, Your Excellency, I think you can see what is happening right now. The diplomats are engaging themselves and they are also engaging Zimbabwean entrepreneurs in light of the ongoing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. What is the significance of such an engagement platform which is happening right now?
This Zimbabwe International Trade Fair is of great significance, not only to Kenya, but to all the diplomats that are represented here and from around the world. As you remember tonight, it was reported that 31 countries are gathered here in Bulawayo, and under the theme of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair of connecting economies and competitive industries. The significance is that for Kenya, which is a gateway economy to East Africa, we find this to be an important opportunity to exhibit, to collaborate, to be able to connect our businesses and to deepen our economic ties. Also critical is like what the minister mentioned tonight, the minister, Honorable Muriwa, that Zimbabwe looks at leaving no one behind and no place behind. And so as Kenya and as African countries, we resonate with this under our bottom-up economic transformation agenda as Kenya, but also under the objectives of the Africa Free Trade Area, enabling countries to be able to deepen their economic ties and to be able to engage widely. But even more importantly is about breaking the barriers to trade, which is also an opportunity that we are pursuing as we represent Kenya here at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, whereby we see an opportunity where we are going to make it easier and possible for all the young people and the businesses and also the small-scale traders and individuals to be able to engage not only between Kenya and Zimbabwe, but also within the region and even globally. We are looking at deepening the economic ties. We are looking at strengthening partnerships and connecting, as the team itself is saying, but also importantly, we are looking at being able to exhibit what it is that Kenya has to offer to Zimbabwe and to the world. And my colleagues, the diplomats here, we are also given an opportunity through this trade to be able to exchange and to learn and to be able to grow our economic ties. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Basically, expectations are high that this year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair will position Zimbabwe as a safe and a sound business portfolio or destination. This year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, which is the country's premium annual trade showcase, will be officially opened this Thursday by the President of Botswana, Advocate Duma Boko. We now cross over to our Montrose studios. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much, Stanley. The news will now take a break, returning shortly, so don't go away.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is pleased to advise the public that the upgraded Big 5 ZIG banknotes are now in circulation, effective 7 April 2026. The new Big 5 ZIG banknote series has been distributed across the country in sufficient quantities to meet anticipated cash demand. The rollout begins with 10 ZIG, 20 ZIG, and the new 50 ZIG note. The 100 ZIG and 200 ZIG will be introduced gradually. 1 ZIG, 2 ZIG and 5 ZIG coins remain in circulation, and the previous ZIG banknotes will continue to circulate alongside the upgraded Big 5 ZIG notes. They will gradually be phased out. The upgraded ZIG banknotes are available through banks, ATMs, and HomeLink kiosks nationwide. Let's embrace and use the upgraded Big 5 ZIG banknotes with pride and confidence. ZIG. Stable, secure, sustainable.
Welcome to a decade of innovation, a legacy of trust, as Oxford Properties celebrates 10 years of excellence, from the success of Aspendale Park to our newest vision. We invite you to discover Borrowdale Park. Experience premium stands ranging from 400 to 800 square meters, with flexible payment plans designed for your future. Perfectly situated less than 5 kilometers from Sam Levy's village, this is where convenience meets sophistication. This is a complete lifestyle sanctuary, a secure, gated community featuring on-site schools, a medical clinic, and a modern shopping mall. From our dynamic business park to paved wellness trails and dedicated sports facilities, every detail, including a dedicated fire station, is built into the heart of the community. With title deeds guaranteed and professionally designed house plans ready for you, your peace of mind is our priority. Borrowdale Park. Designed for living.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Hello, and Makadi from the city of Kings and Queens. Between 12th and 13th Streets along Joshua Nkomo Street, here lies the Croco Motors showroom just for you. Are you an industry leader that's coming through to the ZITF? Or you're looking for a lamp of luxury? It's all here. Whether you're in mining, manufacturing, logistics, or agriculture, we have it all on the next generation Ford Ranger or the next generation Ford Everest. I have something to show you, and it's all inside. My name is Kenny Kane, and I'm ready to take you on a journey.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Remember, we'd also like to engage with you. You can reach out to us on our X handle, our Facebook, and our YouTube at ZBC News Online, as well as log on to our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw for more news. Moving on with the bulletin, on a very sad note, 3 men lost their lives after being crushed by a 3-ton crate in a workplace accident which occurred in Workington, Harare this Wednesday.
What started off as a normal working day for a group of 8 men unfortunately ended up in tragedy when 3 of their colleagues lost their lives in a workplace accident. What we understand is that the 8 men were offloading a glass consignment from this truck here at a local company in the nation's capital here in Workington, when one of the crates, which weighs approximately 3,000 tons, slipped. We managed to speak to some of their survivors who had a very emotional account of what took place.
Angari palit rakakura anengari 5 kumberi anengari 10 mukondeni saka anenge akasungirwa kumadziro akaklipwa kumadziro zvinoitika munokwacha munobvisa 1 pane crane inozodhonza chibuditsa kunze munoenda one side mese muri 8 kudaro mubata one side mubva mavhura pakati pane 1 anenge achisa tambo pakati
vachidari pakati pekuda kunosunga nitambo chabva chatsvedza tambo tira kuda kutsigira but nemawetsi acho chindoti mazvikuma 3 something tons chatokurira simba ndobva mwedu vaita sevadzvanyirirwa vamwe vacho tazongobuda ndo pachadzvanya chasiya gap pasi vamwe wakadzvanywa musoro saka tazokwanisa kubudawo nepasi.
When we arrived at the accident scene, the city of Harare Fire Brigade had already managed to lift the 3-ton glass crate which killed the 3, and the police were still attending to the scene, which was covered by shattered glass in its entirety. One of the survivors had mixed feelings after surviving death by a whisker.
Ndatozokasimidza kutiza kunzvengira kusaidi vandazongokweshera pasaidi pedama ndazokwesherawo papuranga pandatokweshera ndatozvomukunze so dai ndanonokawo zvona dai ndatotsikirirwawo ipapo.
Vanofanira kutaurirana vobata crate. Ndiri busy kugadzikawo ndatozocheuko ndichitarisa mukondena nichinzwa mhiri yevanhu vanga vatswanyidzirwa imba ndatosiyawo zvecrane imba ndaenda kunoti tibatsirane kusumudza kuti tivhurire vanhu vabve ndobva takurirwawo simba necrate racho.
Of the 5 men that survived, 1 sustained injuries and was rushed to the hospital. The names of the deceased will be released in due course. Panasha Nagoli, ZBC News, Harare.
That is very sobering. The Makanyire family from Marimbi village in Seke district are still struggling to come to terms with the terrifying armed robbery that unfolded on the 16th of this month after a 9-member gang pounced on them.
An armed gang of about 9 men descended on the Makanyire homestead at midnight, forcing them into the yard before breaking doors and windows and brutally assaulting the family. Mr. Wanda Makanyire said they were attacked shortly after midnight when unusual movements were detected outside the yard on a CCTV camera. The family recounts how the gang entered the house, demanded cash while assaulting them.
It was around midnight, around 20 past 12. Ndakanga ndakatorara, saka ndakazwa sound yegedhi kuti ka. ndakabva ndamuka ndichimuka ndakabva ndaona pagedhi pari kupinda vanhu vanokwana kuita iwo 9 pavanhu 9 iwapo paine mudzimai 1 then nevamwe varume 8 pavarume 8 ipapo ndo pamwe pacho pavanga vakatakura simbi vamwe vanga vaine pfuti ndo pendakakurumidza kuona kuti dzaive mbavha pakabva pauya umwe murume mupfupi anga akapfeka mask abva auya andibva andirova nesimbi panapa muri kuona pakasonwa apa ndobva ndawira pasi.
Pandakaona dhoo rakurohwa takashedzera asi hakuna akatinzwa. Zvadaro ndakamhanya kurumu kunorara vana ndatoona kuti vanhu vakanga vakupwanya dhoo ndikati vanangu hakuna chimwe chinhu chichatiponesa kunze kwekunamata.
The gang allegedly ransacked the house, getting away with cash and valuables, including mobile phones, CCTV footage, and wedding rings. Fears also gripped the community after the armed robbery incident.
Senharaunda vazhinji takatokanganisika kana kurara chaiko kuri kunetsa kuti ukanzwa munhu achifamba unotofunga kuti vanhu vaya zvichida vadzoka.
Security kuzama kuti tigare tiri alert, tigare tine mafoni ane mari. Takati zvemapito tikana mapito kuti munhu akadambudzika akadza pito maybe tikona kubatsirika.
Tichiri kungotyana nhasi vana chaiko pakurara vakutotya kutorara vega mumarooms mavo vanenge kuti tirarai pamwe.
According to the police, one female suspect has been arrested in connection with the robbery, while several alleged accomplices are yet to be apprehended. Pavo Makona, ZBC News, Harare.
The Swereki community in Beitbridge West endured a hailstorm which destroyed homes and a school this Sunday evening as the effects of climate change continue to affect the country.
The hailstorm that swept through Akomera in Beitbridge West Sunday evening caused extensive damage and left residents traumatized.
Ndichiwana zvichindemera ndichidhiwa ngamasbestas mara hangu nkuvadza kusanga vankuvadzira ngangu ngauri ndandoima kishini yapo usongochipa namabhayodhuwa kana mabhavhodhuwa vachimbandorenga bhavhu linyewanisa zvezvo ndilauri nachinhu nachitintari ahuna so kwatuva kutenga madombo ndodzadzo atamaitsi tikagara usina chavuti kana ndivukofu kana ndimini haya huna
usakanya ngenda usabukasiwa kuitwa swiswi ngatoendi usiku yizara ichibona unodzika mwiya olani ichibvela ndara wana miri yowa dzinduwuli mufesi yonowisiwa ngamuri ndichasanga ngemwe fesi rara wana ndikakati ndichitsuwa kwesi murungera wana ndiyo tetuwa
una mabloku maviri ochinyara zvine ringari extensively so rari kotohumbelisa rikave zvazichita kama well wishers usvika kamuvuso enenge urikavewo vachiwanara tuso inenga ita ngachihadhu rwane ufurera skolo satu uvura.
Beitbridge West legislator Honorable Tusanindo notes the need for urgent interventions to assist the affected families.
Uchinyala chikolo unganichirivona rene Swereki Secondary School. Uchinyala the entire roofs ya one of my blocks otua. And chinyala lea one di kurani ngamanda. So ka siya yelila chikolo. Racha gore vornesa muvusu rivonori. Ukuitiwa ndukiselero sikolo satovula anditotowa dedzula fasi nama stakeholders ravonisana uri ringatoitisa mini uri zvitu zvivuyele ngodani.
The rains also caused destruction in other parts of the district, with the Civil Protection Department in the process of consolidating information to ascertain the extent of the damage. Aiferi Mudau, ZBC News, Beitbridge.
Zimbabwe is participating at the first session of the 2026 United Nations Habitat Executive Board in Nairobi, Kenya.
Zimbabwe has added its voice to the 36 member states governing board of United Nations Human Settlements Program for a collective resolve to build a better and more valuable UN habitat. The country is being represented by National Housing and Social Amenities Minister Professor Paul Mavima, who emphasized on the need for a shift towards sustainable social amenities and affordable housing for all.
The session was officially opened by German, who is the chair of the body, and they called for focused and constructive engagement to support the delivery of affordable housing for all. Reports were received from chairs of various working groups, including the chair of the ad hoc working group on programmatic, budget and administrative matters, and the chair of the open-ended intergovernmental experts working group on adequate housing for all. Several high-level dignitaries then responded and commented on the reports.
The session is also reviewing its 2026 to 2029 strategic plan in terms of implementing strategies for global urban development. Zimbabwe and Mozambique represent the Southern African region in the board, which is tasked with an oversight role of ensuring accountability and efficient operations of the UN Habitat. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
The 1966 Chinoi battle, followed by the 1967 Hwange battle, signaled the bravery and determination of the African and Zimbabwean people to end foreign subjugation. Let's get the details.
Behind me is a symbol of resistance. On the 28th of April 1966, 7 Zanla combatants challenged the Rhodesian war machinery right on the spot. We are talking of the late Comrade David Guzuzu, the late Arthur Maramba, the late Comrade Chris Chatambuza, the late Godwin Manyerenyere, Comrade Simon Chimboza, Godfrey Dube, Chabi Savanu. They challenged the Rhodesians right around here on the 28th of April 1966. And it's exactly 60 years ago that rekindled the armed national struggle. That was in 1966 when the Rhodesians thought they had done it. They were challenged militarily here. And it took almost 2 days until they ran out of ammunition and were killed. That gallantry which was demonstrated here by the 7 heroes in Chinoi later on catapulted Zanla to relaunch the struggle in 1972 after making amendments that they had to embark on a serious guerrilla warfare which culminated in Zimbabwe's independence in April 1980. As we pass through the Hwange National Park, people should remember that from mid-August to September 1967, a joined Zipra Umkhondo Wesizwe group of fighters moved into this area and contacted the Rhodesians where there was a fierce battle. The Rhodesians were put on notice by the joint operation of Zipra and Umkhondo in this game park. And lest we forget, there were 79 of them. 29 were killed, 29 managed to escape back to Zambia, and the others moved into Botswana. This is according to what was recorded by quite a number of historians. But the issue is that the 1967 battle by the Zipra Umkhondo Wesizwe fighters gave a spark to the full throttle of the liberation struggle. Quite a number of fighters who fell, their remains or their bodies were never interred. According to Colonel Chipa, they said these bodies might have been incinerated near Kazungula, between Kazungula and Victoria Falls.
Most of the gorillas were collected by the Rhodesians. We believe there was an area somewhere along Kazungula Road which they used to burn them on acid or something like that. They used to burn them with acid or something like that. The area, I haven't found anyone who knew where it was, but they used to gather them up and burn them there.
You operated in this area?
Yes, in the Hwange area. Operated there for...
But you were following the footsteps of Bob Krisahani and others?
Yes, yes.
The 1967?
Yes, they were still, quite a number of them were quite in Zambia. We stayed almost in a breast camp in Zambia, in CH, which is known as Country House. they had the house in the farm, in the farms there, next to us. So
and what did they tell you about the Wange battles?
There were some areas that we really covered together and so on, like the Nyandue River area, and which is up there, Nyandue River. Along the Nyandue River, there are several battles there, the 67 battles. And they went back or separate ways. Some went into Botswana. But those were the remnants of that 67 group.
So as people celebrate the independence, it should be remembered that Wange played a part in giving that spark which led to a popular revolution in Zimbabwe. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News.
Talking about news on the go, the news will now take a break, returning with business news.
The 2026 edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF, is here. The City of Kings, Bulawayo, will come alive from the 20th to the 25th of April as the annual International Expo takes center stage under the theme, Connected Economies, Competitive Industries. Don't miss this exceptional opportunity to showcase your brand to Zimbabwe and the rest of the world through ZBC TV, digital, and radio platforms. For exciting advertising packages, contact Robson on 0716 484 712, Clarice on 0712 842 138, or email marketing@zbc.co.zw.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Nosiko misplaced her driver's license again, so she can sit pretty as #passenger princess.
In my pinky, right, baby?
If smart choices mean a great deal to you, box clever with a Rapster in original, dunked, or the new barbecue. Genius.
Forever Associates Zimbabwe, FAZ, an affiliate of ZANU-PF, invites you to this year's ZITF exhibition in Bulawayo from 20 to 25 April 2026 at stand number IE1301. Come and experience how FAZ has empowered communities, mobilized youth, and championed Vision 2030. From grassroots engagement to national development initiatives, FAZ continues to support the revolutionary ZANU-PF party. Don't miss the chance to know us and experience our story of public engagement, empowerment, and mass mobilization.
School's out, fun's in, adventures on, homework done, and holiday mode is activated.
Let's hop to it!
And he scores!
This is your time. Holiday mode activated. Get and stay connected to DSTV and choose from a world of amazing kids entertainment.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Let's take a look at business news. As Zimbabwe accelerates its industrialization drive, local companies are stepping up to showcase their capacity at this year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. Steelmakers Limited is among firms positioning themselves as key players in infrastructure development and value addition.
Steelmakers Limited is showcasing a range of locally produced steel products at the 2026 ZITF, highlighting its contribution to industrial growth and import substitution.
Steelmakers is one of the leading steel manufacturers in the region, with an integrated steel value chain that spans from the mining of iron in Masvingo and the mining of high-grade coal in Chirezi, which is transferred to our state-of-the-art DRI plant in Masvingo, where it's processed into sponge iron, right through to the manufacture of high-quality finished products that feed into the local market and the region. That's retaining the much-needed foreign currency for our economy. Our competitive edge as steelmakers is value addition, as we transform raw materials into usable high-quality finished steel products that feed into the construction industry, the mining industry, the agriculture, and the fabrication. That's strengthening industrial linkages across the globe. And steelmakers is also a driver of employment and social impact, with over 1,700 direct jobs. Our company supports families, they support communities through our massive corporate social responsibility projects right across the country.
Beyond the exhibition, the company is pursuing strategic partnerships and expanding its footprint in line with national development goals.
Zimbabwe is currently one of the fastest growing economies in the region, and as steelmakers, we are looking at expansion in our market, expansion of our product range, thus aligning ourselves with the Vision 2030. So yes, our stakeholders have got a lot to look forward to in the future.
Steelmakers Limited's presence at the trade fair reflects the broader momentum within Zimbabwe's manufacturing sector as local industries scale up production, drive innovation, and contribute to sustainable economic growth. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The main news will take a short break, returning with sport.
This April, the heartbeat of global tourism echoes from Africa. Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe proudly welcomes the world to the 23rd UN Tourism Committee on Tourism and Sustainability and the 2nd UN Tourism Regional Congress on Women's Empowerment in Tourism in Africa, hosted in the iconic tourism city of Victoria Falls from the 27th of April to the 1st of May 2026. Leaders, innovators and stakeholders converge for high-level engagement, shaping the future of tourism by advancing sustainability, women's empowerment, leadership and economic inclusion across the continent and beyond, held under the esteemed patronage of Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, whose impactful grassroots programs continue to transform communities and position women as key drivers of tourism development. Zimbabwe stands as a leading model of progressive and inclusive global tourism governance. Experience Zimbabwe, from the majestic Victoria Falls to the ancient wonders of Great Zimbabwe, from breathtaking wildlife encounters to vibrant cultural experiences, where warm hospitality embraces you, where our cuisine tells rich stories of tradition and culture, and where our authentic heritage comes alive in every moment. Come be part of the conversation. Come shape the future. Come and experience Zimbabwe, your gateway to sustainable tourism and empowered futures. Experience Zimbabwe. Nakayedu, Ilefa letu, our heritage. This is us. Zimbo. No choice but to call it beautiful.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at sport. Bulawayo Giants Highlanders finally remembered how to win after coming from behind to beat city rivals Chicken Inn 3-1 in a Bulawayo derby at Barberfield Stadium this Wednesday.
Highlanders players pulled their dressing room walls behind them to score 3 goals past Chicken Inn and collect their first set of 3 points this season. Highlanders right back Rumbeva was the toast of the day, providing 2 assists in the second half for Boso to crawl back into the game after an early Chicken Inn goal. The turning point came after Highlanders coach Benjamin Marwari introduced the pair of Darlington Mukuli and Prince Ndlovu to mount a serious comeback. 4 minutes into the second half, Boso restored parity through Mongameli Chuma, who capitalized on a defensive error by Chicken Inn defenders to calmly slot home and cancel the lead. The Gamecocks had drawn first blood in the 8th minute through Innocent Masiwa. Boso's second goal came from Isaac Ngoma, who capitalized on a spill by Chicken Inn goalkeeper Timon Mvula from an Nrumbeva free kick. As if that was not enough, Prince Ndlovu put the final nail in the coffin, sealing Boso's victory. Highlanders head coach Benjamin Marwari heaved a sigh of relief after his first league victory in charge of Boso.
No, the feeling is always the same. I'm happy that we played some difficult games, more than this one, you know. I was always happy, but though we didn't win, but today it's okay because we won 3-1. But going forward, we need to work and we don't have to be carried away with this win, though it was due for us to win at home in front of our fans.
Chicken Inn head coach Tondera Ndira was disappointed with the result.
We were one team in the first half, then totally a different team in the second half. First half, we looked very solid. We put up a very solid performance. We created so many opportunities, which I also felt if we had taken those chances in the first half, it was going to be a different game altogether.
Highlanders are now 10 points after 8 rounds of matches with 1 win and 7 draws.
So it ends in a stalemate, but not just any other stalemate. It was a very entertaining match as the battle of the Blues, the battle of city rivals, champions Scotland taking on resurgent giants, that is Dynamos. It ended nil-all, but the match was not devoid of entertainment as the two sides dished out some good football. For the greater part of the match, it was Scotland dominating, especially at the death, but Tatenda Makonin goes for Dynamos stood tall to make sure that he preserves the Dynamos unbeaten run. Both sets of fans are excited with the result and they're hoping for better fortune.
Tadevelopa zvakawanda semadhimbare tiri kufara scoreline yatatoita 0-0 tafara zvisikaiti after zvakamboitika.
It was 50-50 and there was no winner. It ended up a draw. It's not a bad result.
Match nhasi ranga riri perfect. All the teams anga ari half. Zvinhu zvezvanakidza ende zvafamba zvakanaka. Refuri wamati panhasi refuri chaiwo anofanira kunge achienda mberi angasina sides kuti iDynamos iScotland arefura bhora sezvariri.
When we are playing with a team that was formed in 1963 versus a team that was formed in 2023, we see a difference considering last time we beat them 5-0. So I say congratulations to Dynamos. We have improved very well.
After a beautiful game of football, everyone goes home happy. Dynamos nil, Scotland nil. While in Bulawayo, Highlanders managed to bag their first win of the season after walloping city rivals Chicken Inn 3-1 at Barberfield Stadium. While in Kariba at Nyamunga Stadium, ZPC Kariba and Bulawayo Chiefs shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw.
The draws for the Mudamutapa Challenge Cup, which were scheduled for this Wednesday, have been postponed to Friday across various regions.
The draws for the first round had initially been penciled for this Wednesday, but the Zimbabwe Football Association and its stakeholders agreed on more time to ensure a smooth and coordinated process. The competition is now set to kick off next week, beginning at Area Zone, progressing through the lower divisions. The draw for the Mudamutapa Challenge Cup, a round of 32, which will include Premier Soccer League teams, is scheduled for the 17th of June in Harare. The winners of the tournament will walk away with $1 million and earn the right to represent Zimbabwe in the CAF Confederation Cup. Lawrence Tusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe Black Shaolin Warriors will represent the country at the upcoming 4th Africa International Youth Kung Fu Championship set for South Africa from the 25th to the 26th of this month.
10 athletes will represent Zimbabwe at the Youth Championships, with 5 training in faculty under the watchful eye of Grandmaster Tundra Shumba. The other 5 athletes are based in South Africa and will join their counterparts in Cape Town. The youth quartet of Nico Simbarashi Shumba, Louis Zinyama, Kunashe Zinyemba, and Kenneth Zinyemba will be trading skills with athletes from 8 countries.
We are going to bring lots of gold, especially in Santa, because the fighters are ready and geared to fight. And as you know, here in South Africa, in Southern and Central Africa, they already know these fighters. But last year we denied the chance to go and participate. Now, when we are given this chance, which means we had a lot of time to prepare.
The team is set to depart this Thursday for Johannesburg before connecting to Cape Town. The event scheduled to take place in Goodwood, with 2 defending champions and host South Africa, Chi Wong Fu, a battle against 8 African countries. Lawrence Tusida, ZBC News, Harare.
The Meteorological Service is up next with the weather.
Hello, welcome. It's time for you with the news. An interaction of 2 different systems, the current moisture coupled with the cool winds that came in from the south last night, led to these localized falls of 70 millimeters in Gwanda, followed by 53 that fell at Kezi, with a local school recording 27 millimeters. All this happened in Matabeleland South province, over the western parts of the country. And looking into today's weather, we had mostly clear skies affecting much of the country, with mild conditions prevailing as well, except for the extreme western parts, which were mostly cloudy and mild, with some light winds here and there. However, as we got into the afternoon, we had warm conditions affecting most areas, with some partly cloudy skies, with and of course isolated afternoon thunderstorms showers over Matabeleland and south, and we're expecting more of cloudy, windy and cool conditions over the southern half of the country, with some chances of rain and drizzle and even localized heavy pours over the rest of the week, while the rest of the country should experience more of windy conditions with some slightly drop in our maximum temperatures. Tonight it should be cool across the central parts of the country, windy over Bulawayo area, with some rainfall activity over the southern parts of the country. Most of the rest is expected to experience partly cloud conditions with mild temperatures throughout the night. Tomorrow should be generally warm across much of the country, with slightly drop in maximum temperatures due to the cooling winds from the southeast. Windy over Bulawayo area, with some chances of rain over the southern parts of the country. Bulawayo cool at first, becoming warm as the day progresses. Windy with some chances of rain and drizzle in places. Same applies for Matopos. Should feel a little cool in the morning, becoming warm as the day progresses. Gwanda expecting some 40% chance of rain on Thursday. Cool at first, becoming warm as the day progresses. Windy conditions for Gweru, mostly cloudy for much of the focus period. Masvingo as well, we're expecting cool conditions in the morning, getting warmer by the day under cloudy conditions. Chances of rain and drizzle are probable in Masingo province. Bulawayo, Tari as well. It should be cool at first, coming warm by the afternoon as the day progresses. Same applies for Nyanga. Chances of rain and drizzle are expected for the rest of the week. Marondera as well. It should feel a bit cool in the morning, becoming warm as the day progresses throughout the forecast period. Harare as well. Cloudy conditions are expected, windy here and there, with some slightly drop in maximum temperatures. Same applies for Kadoma. Isolated showers cannot be ruled out. Chinoi as well, mild in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon, with chances of isolated showers in places. Victoria Falls, of course, isolated showers cannot be ruled out. Mild for much of the morning, becoming warm as the day progresses. Lupane as well, drop in maximum temperatures for Friday into Saturday. Bindura partly cloudy, with chances of isolated showers for the rest of the week. Kariba as well, mild at first, becoming warm by the afternoon under partly cloudy conditions. That's all weather news tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.
Well, that'll be all from tonight's news. My name is Sibiela Maposa. Special thank you to Susan Masona on the sign language desk. From this end, it's good evening and good night.